Thank you, Netrunners. Then we have Hacker X Hacker. Shift, be ready.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, have you ever thought to yourself, wondering if this is all there is? You're great at what you do, but deep down, you want more. Something technical, future proof, and truly challenging. Meet RISE, Career Acceleration Platform for Filipino Contact Center Professionals. Every year, many BPO professionals aim to shift to technical roles, but they lack clear understanding on what is required for the role and where to start. And also, there is limited access to trusted ways of proving their capability, especially without a tech degree. So what does RISE provide? So it provides smart resume analysis where the user feeds their resume and then the AI processes it, where they find their job experiences, their certificates, their educational attainments, and there's projects also. And by then, they identify their strengths, their gaps, and their potential career paths. It also provides personalized learning paths. So instead of sitting there learning for a course, we provide curated list of lessons that are short and easy to digest, and also relevant to what the hiring managers find. So how does RISE works? So first, you upload your resume, and then the AI processes it, finding your strengths, your growth opportunities, and then your possible career paths. And by then, the user has to choose whether to explore the job. As they take the course, by the end, they can take a SMART assessment to evaluate their mastery of the course. And while doing all that, they build a trusted portfolio and they complete a curated course. So more on assessment. So we use performance-based assessments to evaluate readiness. Uh, the assessments can range from coding tasks, scenario problems based on real world, and even system thinking challenges to simulate what learners will face on the job. So AI by then provides their feedback and their grade based on what the user submits. And this helps the learners improve continuously while giving recruiters insight into real competencies and not just credentials. So I will give the floor to Jeremiah for the demo.
All right, so if you could lead us to the landing page, here we have what we're all about. So we're transforming BPO careers into tech careers through accelerated growth and curated assessments. So if we scroll all the way down, or if so, yeah. We have step one, where you upload your resume. So in our other tab here, we have an example of a resume, and then we'll upload it directly. And in the meantime, our AI will be evaluating their resume and searching for soft skills and also potential technical skills to look for areas where there could be growth or so potential areas for growth and strengths. So here, the AI has finished evaluating and it has provided a list of strengths, growth opportunities, and a set of paths for upskilling and an alternative path for those who are job ready. So if we click on Learn Now, we'll head to the courses page. So we also have a set of curated courses for those who are staying on the learning more path. So, and as people complete these courses, they can also take assessments. So our platform sort of contains a sort of lead code-like database of questions and assessments. But the difference here is that we're focusing more on situational and like industry-related questions rather than technical and algorithmic ones. So the aim here is really to prepare individuals for the job rather than technical interviews. So here we have a scenario and a challenge, and so each challenge here has a set of criteria that the AI will evaluate and see if our answer matches the criteria. So we submit the answer, and then it'll give a feedback and a grade, and also explain where we went wrong or what we explained correctly. And so that's basically it for the learning. And for those who want to move on to finding jobs in the tech industry, we have also a set of job listings that are hopefully taken ideally from industry partners, because that's another area of scalability where we could move into by making partnerships with tech. So yeah, that's for the demonstration, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. I guess for idea, you're using the resume, no? Tama ba? As the basis. What if the resume, I don't know, like Girish and I have been in the industry for a long time. People don't always update their CVs unless they're looking for another job, no? What other things can we consider in order to facilitate the, I guess, the assessment on top of the resume?
Besides the resume, I guess there could be other layers of evaluation also for people entering this platform, such as something simple as like a personality evaluation, or just like an evaluation of preferences as well, and maybe where they want to work in, and maybe even like small aptitude tests, and yeah. So yeah, those are where we could.
Yeah, maybe
other.
you can also consider linking to their LinkedIn profile or some other public social media type, because, well, especially LinkedIn, people upload their certifications there. So then you have I guess, a 360-degree view of the experience. No? But I like your idea. I really like the ideas here. I think the companies in IBPAP will be interested in your ideas, and maybe we can combine some. And your UI is very professional. So good job, good job.
Yeah, I agree with Amber. I think the UI is really professional, and that's the case with most of the presentations also. I think while the resume is one part, you need to merge it with something else to give the right results. So the LinkedIn profile here, I also realize that you do performance-based assessments. So the outcome of that assessment can be used for the fine-tune profile to give more curated results, right? So it's something you all can think about, just as a recommendation. But overall, I like what I saw. So thank you for taking the time. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Hacker X Hacker. Now we have Shift. A round of applause, please. That's Hacker Hacker.
Hello and good evening. We are Team Shift and we are from Foundation University. Starting off with our statement or the problem given, which is Education 1.1, which simply means how might we use technology to make coding and digital literacy accessible, engaging, and inclusive for young students across the Philippines. You don't have to read. Let me give you the attention or let's gather our attention on these important words. Coding and digital literacy. And to be more specific on how we can make it accessible, engaging, and inclusive. And to better understand the factors, which is the three, let's first focus on accessibility. The first way we can understand accessibility is with this very simple question. Do all learners have the means to connect with learning tools? Or in simple way, the idea of connection. And with the idea of connection, there are two problems that will arise, which is the limited device access and internet connectivity gaps, or in simpler ways, the high cost of technology. Though it's 2025, there are still people who cannot afford, and that is something we have to factor. But sadly, there is 35 to 45% of young students who own low-end devices. And to be a bit more specific, low-end devices is 3,000 pesos to 6,000 pesos. Whereas internet connectivity gaps, though as you can see, the number is high. 85% to 90% of young students have internet. But the thing is, 30 to 35% of young students have unstable connection. Basically, katong gakalisod sa ilahong internet connection. So that answers our question or the problem with accessibility. So let's focus on the other factor, which is engagement. Engagement is simpler to understand with this simple phrase. It's not presence, it's participation, emotion, and focus. Or in another way, we can think of engagement as the idea of participation, wherein there's two problems that will arise. The minimal integration of interactive learning and the lack of proficient teaching. Let's start off on the left side, wherein a best way to understand interactive learning is this is based off research, this is proven. Project-based learning. This is the best interactive learning there could be. Wherein sadly, as you can see with statistics or data, 80 to 90% of young students do not do project-based learning. Now, please do note, this is for young students, so this is mainly katong below high school and not college. Whereas, the other factor or problem is lack of proficient teachers. I have to put a note here, we are not questioning their capacity, but rather their limitations. Again, this is not biasing other teachers, this is just a note. Wherein, the idea here is student-teacher connection. Or in another way, we can put this as the example here. Imagine you have your mentor. Imagine if that mentor has 40 students he has to mentor. Do you think engagement is there between you and that mentor? Maybe yes if he has 24 hours, but realistically, they are all busy. They have their own limitations. So sadly, because of that, 25% to 30% of young students experience low engagement. Basically, there's no person interacting with them directly, and so therefore, it's somewhat low. Though the statistics is basically 3 out of 10 students, but this is something that we have to include for the problem. So going a step back, the problem or the statement I mentioned, it's not presence, it's participation, emotion, and focus. In order to answer this is simply the word participation. As you can see, it is based on project-based learning. We can answer emotion based off interactive learning, and we can answer focus based on student-teacher interaction. So that is for our engagement. Another factor we have to take into account is inclusivity, or we can understand it with this simple phrase. No one is left out or no one is left behind. Or in another way we can say this is the idea of being included. So there are two problems that will arise. Tech is new and intimidating to learners, and the lack of language and representation. Simply on the tech is new and intimidating to learners is simply the idea of something you are, or the idea of being scared, or the idea of having fear. Because fear gives you the idea of stepping back or backing off. Wherein 40 to 50 students or percent struggle when unfamiliar and intimidating tech is introduced. That is quite a lot of students. Wherein lack of inclusive language and representation is simply the idea of local relatable content. It is something you could relate to personally in your region. It could be tradition, culture, and so on and so forth. Wherein 30 to 40% lack inclusive language and representation. So those are the factors that we have. So that's why me and my team created a solution. We created Bansai. Bansai is an AI-powered application that aims to teach coding and digital literacy through the form of gamified and info hub learning that uses personalized information based on user preferences, meeting learning by ensuring learners with adaptive guidance, engagement, and meaningful experience, but also being inclusive for users with low-end devices and weak connectivity. So focusing on the word Bansai, this is our brand, this is our logo, and the reason for this is we have pride. As you can see, there is the word AI, Bansa, and Bansai. The point of this is for us to share information for our country, which is Bansa, through the use of AI, Bansai. and the point or with the intent of making people bansai. Feel free to ask what is the meaning for bansai, but for me, bansai is basically knowledgeable people. That is the intent of bansai. So let's proceed to the prototype, and hopefully, dilara na mo error. Sorry, right? There's a simple introduction, there's nothing social, it's just for the design. So for every interaction, for anything that is application, there's always a sign in, log in, so on and so forth. But let's focus on sign up. It's something friendlier. I won't discuss its simple information, but let's simply sign up. And so the first thing that the user will see is a survey. The point for the survey is for us to gather information, not personal, but rather preferences for the user, for us to feed to the AI. Of course, this is a way for us to make things personalized for the user. I will not elaborate on the survey part because it's simply information. So I'll skip. So let's say legit answers, the AI will simply process. Some sense of loading. And so let's get started. So the thing you will always see at the first place is your home or your dashboard. Though you can see the statistics is 20 to 80%, but let's just say we are already old users. This is where the user can see his progression with digital and coding literacy. It is a sense of measurement of how much the student has learned. As you can see, the progress tracker, there's a sense of maybe UI improvements, but with the lack of time, it's a factor that we have to take into account. The next thing is fun, wherein this is basically the main point of our AI, wherein it creates a roadmap specifically for the user. It could be either coding or digital literacy, as you can see. It may vary for the user, but based on the survey, it will feed the user with the right information he or she needs. So, continue. So currently, due to the lack of time, this is currently static. Static is just something not dynamic, or basically, maora na siya. So as you can see, let's start with pseudocode. So next. The simple thing, it might be multiple choice. It's not the gamification part because there's limitation with time. So next. I'll just close this. So basically, that's the point. So there's this, and so on and so forth, and repetition. But let's take a step back, and moving on with digital literacy, the same idea. The person or the information here is fed to the user based on AI. It is the rightful information the user needs to improve his digital literacy. And Bansai AI, the main point for this application to be somewhat unique and something different in the market, in a way. So as you can see, this is the thing with AIs, there's a lot of words there, but let's just focus on the text field, wherein AI is best in, guy. So, actually, it's okay on my screen. I don't know nga nung ingana. But I guess as you can see, let's ask AI a simple question. A simple question for coding literacy, which is, what is an array? Ay. Dili na siya makuha. Hindi. So basically, as you can see, based also on the language that the user uses, and by clicking localize, it can do something that the user can relate, which is, as you can see, an array is like a row of puso, or hanging rice, lined up at a tabuan market stall. Each puso has its own spot, and you can easily find it, the one you want, by counting its place in the row. Basically, it's just things that a student could learn interactively in something that he could relate to personally. So is there any questions that my teammates would like to add? Wala. So I'll skipping that part. Basically, you could ask AI for anything. Though there's going to be limitations, of course, for the rightful things for a young student that is already factored out. So moving on, we have the learn segment. Learn segment is something boring, but this is just to answer our accessibility factor, when there will be people with limited device access or limited internet access and weak phones. So this is just for them. If they cannot play games, they could try to use PDF, And the point for this is everybody has a sense of internet connection. The problem is it not being constant. And that's why PDF exists. So with or without Wi-Fi, there's a way for them to learn. Next is the profile tab. The point for profile tab is, of course, the idea of the user having a sense of measurement. Imagine learning and yet you don't have a sense of measurement. How far are you or how slow are you in learning? That's why profile exists. And there's a sense of badges here. The points for badges is just like simple games wherein this is your rank. This is what you get for doing this certain amount of objects or answers, so on and so forth. So there's a sense of measurement for the user or a sense for him to be satisfied. A sense of satisfaction when using the application. And just to add things, we added the idea of local rank. Instead of playing ML to increase your rank in your barangay or province, why not just improve your rank here, wherein you can learn at the same time, you can see how far you are relative to your position. So that's basically it for the application. That is all for our demonstration, and we are open for questions.
I think I'll go first. All of you all have worked on it, so come in front, it's okay. I, I, I think this is a good presentation. Thank you. I think you made it simple. You took us through every step. I just missed one part, so I'm going to ask that as a question. What does localize mean? So what typically happens when I click on localize?
They have their own answers. They're, I guess, not voluntary. The idea of localized answer and that button there is the idea of something relatable. Localize is based on the survey of the user wherein it simply finds something culturally or traditionally relative or relatable. Something local, basically.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting feature. So I like that. That just makes it very unique.
Yeah, I think it's very creative, that localize. I wonder how you, is that Gen AI or you have to hard code the analogy? How are you doing it? I'm like really curious.
We use an API for
But how are
OpenAI.
you, how did it use a Cebuano analogy? Like the puso. It's very good.
For this, it is only the purpose is prototyping. We just use prompt engineering for the AI to know.
So you prompted it with a Cebu specific example.
I think the AI is updated with
Okay.
what's going on.
All right. So I just followed up on that, but I like how you broke down the problem. There's data to support your ideas, and so it was very well presented. Congratulations. And I like this localization feature is unique because it makes it inclusive. No? So I guess depending on the locality, whether it's Cebu or Mindanao, if I didn't realize you can prompt it as long as it's updated, no, with the local features. But it's really good, and it makes the concepts more relatable, I guess, to the people of that locality or even children. So great job. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Shift. We're down to our last 10 teams. Are you ready?
10 more.
Last 10. Starting off with Area Viroliciao. Let's go. Please stand by, Control Alt Elite, and SAMsite.
Okay, I was surprised. I scored them already.
Hello, hello, hello.
In a world where access and opportunity remain uneven, especially in entrepreneurship, we asked ourselves, how can we build something truly empowering, not only for women, but with women? As a Scholars ng Bayan, we believe in inclusive innovation and design that uplifts communities. But we also acknowledge a crucial truth. As men, we can never fully grasp the lived experiences of women entrepreneurs. So, we reached out to women-led organizations like WimaPhil, PhilWen, Women Biz PH, Dawn, and several more. From their training programs to funding pipelines, these groups have built powerful systems. But one thing stood out: women at the margins. Paano na lang ang sari-sari store ni Aling Nena, si Tita Belle and her karinderya at the palengke, or si Ate, who's an online seller? These are not by neglect, but because the systems built don't always reach them. We spoke with women in these informal spaces, and their voices revealed a need for something grounded, local, and truly accessible. That's why we created
Palenque. So Palenque is actually a mobile app that's both available in Android and iOS devices. So Palenque is designed to be the perfect pal for those small-scale businesses such as food vendors, store owners, and other local businesses. So Palenque, based on the women entrepreneurs we've interviewed, one struggle they often face is juggling between familial responsibilities such as motherhood and managing their small-scale business. So Palenque aims to streamline this process by helping them with their sales strategy. And our other features also for sharing your store directly, so a chatbot so that and our other feature also includes resources that were curated for women and developed and led by women so that you can also learn from them. And how can vendors actually use this? Since vendors can use this regardless of data and need of the online features. So let's move on to the tech stack. So what we used for this is React Native, Expo Router, and the OpenAI